The call came at 02:17 hours. No name. Just a number I didn't recognize, flickering under the pale green glow of the comms tent light. I pressed the receiver to my ear. Static. A breath. Then, "Hey, soldier, this is your wife's boyfriend." I didn't respond. My fingers curled tighter around the cord. I just tattooed "property of a coward" on your son's face. Behind him, a woman laughed. High, unrestrained, familiar. "I'm giving him up for adoption," she said, clear enough for the line to carry the bite in her voice. The breath in my lungs felt metallic. My spotter, Carter, caught my stare. I didn't blink. He took the phone from me, said only 2 words into the receiver. "Go home." The line went dead. Somewhere outside, the desert wind scraped against the tent. But inside, the air felt motionless. I sat in that stillness, not breathing, replaying the sound of her laugh. It didn't belong to the woman I'd married. Not anymore. I stayed in the tent for hours after the call, unmoving. Carter said nothing. He'd been in the field long enough to recognize when a man was holding himself together with silence. When I did stand, my hands didn't shake. My mind was already drawing lines. Boyfriend? Tattoo? Adoption. The words didn't add up. Not unless you believed cruelty could become entertainment. Deployment changes people, but it's not supposed to change the ones waiting at home. I didn't call her back, didn't demand answers. Instead, I requested leave under the pretense of a family emergency. I didn't tell them the truth. The truth was, I didn't know it yet. And if the voice on the other end of the line had meant to break me, they'd failed. They had only lit a fuse. And I wasn't the kind of man who wasted fire. Back home, the house was exactly as I'd left it. No sign of chaos. No sign of a child marked by ink. Our son, Evan, wasn't there. Her explanation came rehearsed. He's with my sister for the week. Needed a break. Her eyes moved too much when she spoke, never landing on mine. I told her I needed rest. She believed me. What she didn't know was that I started digging the moment she closed the bedroom door. Phone records were easy. Military clearance has its perks. The unknown number was registered under a man named Derek Shaw. He lived 3 miles away. No connection on paper to my wife. I checked her laptop. Social media scrubbed, messages deleted. Too clean. Over the next week, I tracked her routines. Grocery trips that took 2 hours. Yoga classes that didn't exist. And always the same blue sedan parked 2 streets over. Derek Shaw's. No confrontation. Not yet. I was building a map. Every lie, every omission. When I finally saw her leaving that sedan with a smile too young for her age, I didn't feel jealousy. I felt accuracy. The pieces were aligning. And when pieces align, the truth follows. The real break came from my sister-in-law. One night, after a few glasses of wine, she told me the part my wife had kept buried. Evan wasn't mine, not biologically. She'd been with Shaw before we married. She'd kept it quiet, knowing I'd never question a child that looked enough like me to pass. The tattoo? A lie. A cruel invention meant to sever me from him before I could contest custody. Adoption? Another bluff. Leverage to keep me from digging. She hadn't counted on me already being beneath the surface. I ordered a DNA test. Quietly. Swabbed Evan myself during a weekend visit. The results came back 2 days later. Negative. When I handed her the envelope, she laughed, at first. Then she read the paper. Her face collapsed. You tested him?" I didn't answer. I just watched the realization crawl over her like frost. She understood then that I knew everything, and I was still here, calm as winter. I waited until Derek Shaw was sitting in her living room. The 3 of us, silent. I placed the DNA results on the coffee table. Then a folder of her phone records. Then photographs. Her and Shaw together while I was halfway across the world. No words, just evidence. Shaw shifted, cleared his throat. She stared at the table, hands shaking. Finally, I spoke. "You didn't have to lie about the boy. You could have just told me." She looked up, tears welling. "I thought you'd leave." I let the pause stretch until it hurt. Now, I'm not leaving. I'm erasing. I stood, walked to the door, and turned once more. You keep him. You keep this house. You keep each other. But you never keep my name. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. Shaw looked at her like she was a stranger. Maybe now she was. The next morning, I filed the papers. Name change, property transfer, custody waiver, clean cuts, no lingering threads. Evan would grow up thinking I'd walked away. Better that than him growing up in the shadow of lies. I didn't tell Carter the details when I returned to base. Just that the call had been accurate in one way. It had ended something. I'd always believed betrayal felt like fire.
And when it's over, you don't burn, you freeze. Do you want me to also create a short, chilling one-line hook for this story that could work as a YouTube thumbnail or title? It would make it even more gripping for your audience.